Okay. So in this video, I'm going to talk about developing an idea for a portrait, for our portrait project. And for me, I am going to do a piece based on an artist and former instructor of mine named Philip Morrisberger. He recently died of complications from COVID at the age of 87. He was a wonderfully inspiring man and an excellent teacher. Extremely kind and compassionate and wise, and everything you'd hope to have out of a really good mentor. I did not go down the path of painting, which he always tried to gently nudge me toward, just because I really got into ceramics and I like to work with lots of different media. He considered himself a pure painter, and so we kind of gently wrestle with that. He was also a person who tried to encourage me to brighten my palette, and he was a loved color. His own work was extremely colorful and beautiful. This is a book of his paintings, monograph on his work and life. Let's see. He was from Baltimore, and he drew at a very early age. Also served in the military for a short stint. He is as a young man, very tall, lanky, long face. You can see here in his studio in Oxford, Ohio, where he worked and painted. In his early years, he worked in a much more sort of narrative, vernacular. There he is. It's him later in life in Georgia. But this kind of work is a little more characteristic of his mature phase. Very colorful, a lot of playful, flat outlining, planes of color. So my idea was to do a portrait, some of his more naturalistic early work. Did some political work in the 60s. You see him breaking the picture plane in various ways. Beautiful handling of the medium. Just love these. Excellent draftsman. He used to just walk behind you while you were painting. He didn't even have to say anything. It just completely changed your perspective on what you were working on. It's beautiful colors. Okay. Let's see if we can find something with, yeah, here's something with a portrait head on it. This one is called Dreams of Velasquez. I love these. He had a love for early cartoons, especially like Crazy Cat and Ignatz Mouse. And it showed up in some of his line work, some of these old comic strips. Anyway, so I thought what I would do is a portrait of him. So remember him as a teacher. He used to wear a white lab coat during painting class. And he just would really push you towards using color in a really confident way. Line work, and that brush work be intentional. Yeah. So I'm going to do not just a straightforward portrait of him, but something with some of the markings from his painting vernacular. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to paint a Philip Morrisberger, but I could do some kind of decoration around his bust, maybe going up into his face, influenced a little bit on the way that he kind of put together a picture, but do it in 3 dimensions, which he would probably be horrified by a little bit, but perhaps also he would admire the fact that I would be so audacious as to do such a thing to a lifelong painter. Anyway, first I'm going to work on a maquette, which if you have not heard of before is a little model of your piece of art, so you can work out some of the proportions and issues here. I'm working with a basaltic clay, which I want to have as a ground for my piece. So as I layer slip and colors over this, I'll be able to scratch through the surface of those and have some darker line work showing through, which I think will give me the flat kind of interesting look that's in some of his paintings. So he had a very long neck, kind of a soft chin, very tall head. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm just kind of pinching. Not worried about making it hollow right now. I can hollow that out when I get to the end. Okay, so I'm just going to work out the proportions of his neck here and come down to his shoulders. Okay. Kind of narrow shoulders. He wasn't a very beefy person. Okay. Top of his head was a little flatter. Move that around. More shoulders on there. Move some of that neck down. His neck is still way too thick.